most of you know, Anastacia is a very determined person. When she joined her cross-country team, she didn't want to be that one person who would always lag behind and keep the other team always winning the races. So she kept putting effort in. She never gave up. And now she's known as one of the best people on her junior varsity team. Her hard work never paid off. And she had that same type of determination to face. She never gave up, and when something was wrong, she'd fix it or take it out. I know that you'll be able to see the hard work that she put in, and I hope that you're blessed by what she said. So,
Amen.
Happy Sabbath. I saw he had more in his paper, but I guess he was tired of talking about me. Okay, I'm going to start. Go back to Matthew chapter 6, verse 32 to 34, please.
Amen.
And it says, "For after all these things the Gentiles seek, for your heavenly Father knows that you need all these things. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things. Sufficient for the day is its own troubles." You serve a great God, yes?
Yes. Amen.
When I was 4 years old, I wanted to be a doctor. And then when I was 7, I told my teacher that I wanted to be the president of the U.S. And she gave me back the paper and she wrote, "You can't be the president because you were born in the U.S. So I cried a little, and then I decided that I would be a baker or a chef. And then when I was 10 years old, I wanted to be a writer. Now I'm 15, and I think I'll go back to being a doctor, but I would also like to have holy ambition. So what exactly is holy ambition? The 10-year-old writer in me knows that you have to break up the phrase. Let's start. Ambition means a strong desire to do or achieve something, typically requiring determination or hard work. Then the word holy. Holy means to be dedicated or consecrated to God. Being the writer that I am, I know that if you put these two words together, you get a strong desire to do or achieve something dedicated to God that typically requires determination and hard work. So as holy ambition says, it's not easy. And it gets even harder while you're working to achieve these things because Satan is working to tear you down. So I have 2 tips. Tip number 1 is expect to fail. I'm not saying this to give you permission to give up and just stop where you are, but to make you think. I hope you achieve all your goals, God willing. But you have to expect to fail along the way. Failure does not defeat you, but rather it's the fear of failing. Failure gives you the opportunity to stop, take a step back, and reevaluate your dreams with a new mindset. As my cross-country coach says, you will only be successful when your dreams are bigger than your excuses. This is where the dedication comes in. You can fail 100 times, but you have to get up and try 101 times. You don't get to give up because it's too hard. My second tip is let go and let God. Usually where we go wrong is that we're not including God in our dreams and goals. God is in control. And it says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding in all your ways. Submit to him, and he will make your path straight." Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 6. Just because God is in control doesn't allow us to be lazy and sit back. This is where that hard work is needed. Sometimes we feel like we can just lay back and have God take care of everything. But he doesn't do that. He will guide you and help you overcome whatever stands in your way. And that leads me into the next verse. Open your Bibles to 2 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 9. Chapter 16, verse 9. For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth to show himself strong on behalf of those whose heart is loyal to him. And this you have done foolishly. Therefore, from now on you shall have rulers. If your heart is loyal to God alone, you will have holy ambition. Having that holy ambition means that God will give you the strength to overcome anything that might come your way. But if you turn away from him, that's like forfeiting everything you've worked so hard to achieve. I have some friends here today who can tell you a little bit about what God has done in their lives.
Hi, my name is Joseph, and I was known to my older brothers as my father's favorite. For this reason, my older brothers conspired against me and sold me to slave traders, while telling our father that I had been mauled by an animal. But I had been given dreams of God's plan for my life. So with confidence and strength, I endured. Through it all, God was with me, and I believed and trusted him with my life. Through his plan, I eventually oversaw the lands of Egypt. During the years of famine, my brothers came in search of grains and food to keep their people from starvation. Not recognizing me as a mature and prominent Egyptian that I had become, I ordered them to return with their younger brother. When my brothers returned with Benjamin, I then revealed my identity. My brothers suffered from great remorse of their actions, and I forgave them. It was a joyous reunion between a grieved father and me, a lost son. My years of steadfast reliance on God brought about not only reunion, but my high position so that he was able to save a nation from starvation. My ambition in life was to follow God's will, and for that he used me and blessed me.
And then I have Esther.
Hi, I'm Esther, and I married King Xerxes, which allowed me to save the Jews. I was chosen to be his wife at a beauty pageant, and Haman was his advisor. Haman hated Mordecai because he wouldn't bow down to him and resorted to killing all the Jews to get revenge. But I was a Jew. I knew I had to do something, so I prayed and fasted for 3 days. When the third day came, God was with me, so I dressed in my royal apparel, slowly entered the room, and Xerxes allowed me to speak with him. He hadn't called me in 30 days, meaning he might not love me anymore. I asked if we could have a meeting with Haman, and he said yes, but when the meeting came, I couldn't say what I had to say, so I asked for another meeting, and they both agreed to come. At the second meeting, I told Xerxes that Haman wanted to kill all the Jews, and that I was a Jew. Xerxes was infuriated and ordered that Haman be hung on the gallows, prepared for Mordecai.
Now I have Daniel. David, my bad. He's David.
Good morning, I'm David, son of Jesse, and I'm Goliath's son. Of course I didn't do anything. It was of my God. I really didn't do much. But the one who let me go, I killed Goliath. It was Saul, the person who let me go out there in the first place, and eventually I had to take over for him. This son was my best friend, and warned me when his father wanted to kill me. Once I took over for Saul, I conquered the bustle and got the Ark of Covenant.
Thank you, David.
Thank you all for sharing your stories. As we got closer to the day that we were going to come up here and say our sermon, the rush finally began to kick in. Holy ambition comes down to living out God's plan for you, but sometimes we get scared and we resort to other things like our idols. God knows that we'll make mistakes sometimes, and he's prepared to bring us back when we go astray or to pick us up when we fall. Holy ambition needs a courageous heart. God is looking for people like you and me to accomplish great things in our lives beyond our wildest dreams. He's calling each of us to attempt the impossible, to do what even seems ridiculous, and to think outside the box.
Amen.
Some of the people that came up messed up sometimes, but they got back on the narrow path. We may all suffer from different things that bring us astray. Sometimes we suffer from loss of strength. A loss of energy can take its toll on our physical and emotional state. But being fatigued doesn't mean you're out of God's will. It just means that you need to stop and rest and get physically and spiritually renewed. Loss of vision is perspective. If we don't keep a positive perspective, it's easy to become discouraged. Instead, we need to focus on what we've accomplished so we can see God's plan. Loss of confidence. When we lose confidence in ourselves and even in God, our faith begins to crumble. To battle this, we need to remember God's character and worship Him. Loss of security. The enemy wants us to panic, so sometimes he likes to send out things that will just scare us and we'll forget that God's there for us. Especially when our lives might be threatened. But we can trust God. And we can trust that He'll give us what we need. In those times of weakest, He will demonstrate His greatest power. And Anastacia will close out with this story.
Okay. In 1936, a 61-year-old sheep farmer named Cliff Young decided to participate in the world's toughest race. It's a 544-mile ultra-marathon from Melbourne to Sydney, Australia. I'm a cross-country runner, and I can run like miles on end, but I don't think I'd be able to do even 100 miles in a day. That's no big deal. When the 150 world-class athletes gathered at the starting line, they were amused to see old Cliff enter the race wearing overalls with galoshes over his work boots. As soon as the race started, the pros quickly left Cliff suffering behind. Spectators were hoping someone would stop the crazy old man before he hurt himself, but he kept plodding along. Normally, the contenders run about 18 hours and sleep 6 hours during the 7-day race. But no one told Cliff he was supposed to sleep, so while the other runners slept, he kept running. Gaining on the pack a little more each day. By the last night, he passed all of the world-class athletes. By the last day, he was in front of them. Incredibly, not only did Cliff run the Melbourne to Sydney race at the age of 61 without dying, he won first place, breaking the race record by 9 hours and becoming a national hero. Wow. When asked how he could run all night, Cliff said, "See, I grew up on a farm where we couldn't afford horses, and whenever the storm would roll in, I would have to run those sheep for 2 to 3 days nonstop." Throughout the race, he just imagined that he was chasing sheep. When Cliff was awarded the first place prize of $10,000, he said he didn't know there was a prize, and instead they split it amongst the other lead runners. The nation fell in love with the 61-year-old vegetarian who came out of nowhere to defeat the world's best long-distance runners. Cliff Young because of his upbringing, had incredible endurance. The Bible says we also must have endurance, for the race is set before us. But where do we get the strength and stamina we need? Psalms tells us that God gives strength and power to His people, and it is God who arms me with strength. Everything that you experience in life is to prepare you for what God has in store for you. They say that God gives His toughest battles to His strongest soldiers. But I don't think that's true. I believe that God gives us the toughest battles when we need it the most so that He can instill in us spiritual strength. But oftentimes we think that the journey is too difficult or we are too frightened by the changes in our lives and we miss the comfort of our safe routine. My cross-country coach likes to tell us that we must commit to the process. Commit to the pain, commit to the discomfort you experience. Commit to all parts of the process, the good moments and the not so good moments. Commit to God's process for you, because where there is comfort, there is not growth. And before I close out, I have a verse from one of my favorite songs. As a child, I heard your voice, but now I've grown and I made my choice. There is no other way for me. You're my peace on the heavy days. You're the warmth of an autumn blaze. Your love carries me through. And this world may push, may pull, but your mercy never fails. You lead, I'll follow. Your hands are mine tomorrow. Your grip, your grace, you know the way. You guide me tenderly.